Hey everybody, Brian from Bearable Traders here. It is Sunday, January 27th, and holy cow, January's almost finished here. We got that one, we're ready to put that one in the books, and quite a comeback from the January or December 24th sell-off bottom there. So yeah, let's take a look at the market internals. Let's look at the week that was and maybe look ahead and try and see if we can find some trades here. So again, let's start out by looking at stocks below the 200 moving day average, still just under 30%, so it may be a bit of an improvement. Bigger improvement in the ones under 50. I think we got over 70% now over the 50 simple moving average. So market internals, firming up a little bit still. Had a nice day on Friday, obviously. Let's take a look at the groups, what performed and what didn't. So you can kind of see here on the week we had technology was a big mover on Friday and through the week. Financials, we also had a bunch of the financial stocks reporting over the last week. So and then and they did quite well. So lots of green. Everything seems to be green for the month, and healthcare and conglomerates are kind of are running behind their utilities. Typically, the safety plays are lagging a little bit as well. So we got a big week coming up here. As everybody knows, we're right into earnings season. We got a lot of earnings coming up next week. We got CAT on Monday. We've got Apple, AMD, eBay, some healthcare and biotech names on Tuesday. Wednesday, we've got Facebook, Tesla, Microsoft, Visa, PayPal. So this is a big week coming up. On top of that, we've got Fed speak. So we got Fed meeting and maybe some comments after by Powell, and that people will be watching that closely, listening to what he has to say about interest rate hikes, yes or no, and also sort of what they're doing with the balance sheet, whether they're going to continue to shrink it or sort of back off on that. So it's going to be an action-packed week and there's a lot of news flow too, different statistics that'll be coming out. So yeah, it's going to be lots of news flow. So there should be some pretty, I would say, a little bit more volatile action, but we'll see how things go. Let's take a look at the SPY. Let's start out by looking at the weekly here. Weekly chart, you can kind of see here's our December 24th rebound. And now we've come up to just over a level of that we identified as resistance. And we seem to be, for this week, we tried to push higher, and it was a pretty narrow week in terms of trading range compared to the previous weeks. So, and you can see here the volume really dropped off on the week. So, yeah, seems to be a bit of a stall here. I don't know if it's going to push higher, if we're just going to consolidate sideways. I kind of doubt we're going to sell off. We've got some moving averages kind of turning up here. So we'll see what happens. Here's the daily, kind of nice uptrend going on, but we'll see if we top out a little bit here and maybe do a bit of a pullback and just maybe consolidate sideways. But we're definitely into a level of sort of overhead resistance here, and not a lot of volume. So yeah, so interesting. So I think people may be sort of sitting on their hands. They may be waiting for the Fed speak and some of the other earnings to come out. So let's take a look at one trade I'm looking at. It's based on the dollar. This is the UUP, which is a dollar, is a dollar index. It's a sort of how the dollar is trading against a bunch of other currencies. And you can kind of see here, it looks like it's consolidating in a range, but maybe it might be heading lower. And that's, I kind of think, sort of the consensus. You always have to be worried about what the consensus is, but people seem to feel that interest rates are heading lower. So if the interest rates are heading lower, so is the dollar, and that's in the U.S. And so interest rates head lower, dollar heads lower, and that sort of bodes well for some specific trades, such as nugget. Gold tends to do better in a falling dollar environment. So Nugget could start to push higher here. You can kind of see an area of resistance. Nugget's ETF for gold miners, and you can do JNUG, which is the junior gold miners. We want to play those that long, but I'll be watching Nugget this week. It looks like it might be starting back into another uptrend. We've already got a nice sort of consolidating pattern here. Here's the bottom being put in, and now pop up and maybe making a lower or a higher high here, higher low. 1 day chart again had a big day on Friday. Nice pop up, and we're sort of into a level of resistance. If we can get through there, it should go much higher. Sort of get up to this range here, sort of the 22, 23 range. Trading around 1750-ish right now. And EDC is another one that I've been looking at. EDC is the ETF that tracks emerging markets. It's one ETF. EEM is another ETF that tracks emerging markets. I think the weekly looks pretty good here. Again, volume not that great. I think that's a theme. Volume seems to be dropping off, which don't like to see if you're a bull or looking for a trend. I don't like to see a dropping volume, but the price action looks good. We had a bit of a sell-off this week, and it came right back up, and now we're at this level of resistance here. But I think it could move higher, particularly if the U.S. dollar is continuing to weaken, interest rates continue to drop. EDC on the daily, you can see here, I had a nice pop on Friday, and I'm going to be looking for maybe a bit of a pullback because it's really getting a bit extended here, but opportunity to buy if it does. And the volume was not bad on Friday. MU, we know a lot, the MU, AMD, NVIDIA, a lot of the chip plays did really well on, particularly on Friday, based on some strong earnings reports. And you can kind of see here, I think this has some room to run. We're at around the 39 level right now, just over 39. This level here, this level of resistance that I drew out, prior support here, 40.89-ish, 41. It could be the next level that we get to on this stock here. So see how things open up. I might get a bit of a pullback. Could be an opportunity to buy and see this thing run to 41 and see where it goes from there. But again, the same theme, volume, not great actually. Again, Friday's volume was pretty good. You can see here the big gap up on Friday, and yeah, so AMD, another one, another chip stock, obviously. That's they're all floating the same. All the boats are floating in the same river. They're all going up. So and AMD is another one. There's your volume there. It's not particularly good. It's tapering off on the week, but again on Friday we had a good day on Friday. We're pretty close to 22 right there. 23.40 could be a level we get to. Get that on a pullback and maybe ride it a bit higher. Seems to be where the money's flowing into right now. So you can see here, gold. Someone asked me, I did mention that in one of the swing trade alerts. I did mention I took a small position in this. I took it thinking it was going to come up here and close this gap here around just around 20. We had some cold weather come into the U.S., more cold weather push in, and that drove natural gas prices up, which took coal down. So I'm holding on to this position right now. It's only a couple hundred shares, hoping it'll bounce off this moving average and maybe turn around and come back up. If not, I'll just hold it. Yeah, like I said, it's not a lot of shares, and I think eventually cold weather will leave and we'll get natural gas prices rolling over. But sort of a bit of a longer term play, and I'll add to it if I see some bottoming action, if it comes down here and does some bottoming action. FOR, this is one I was looking at for a long trade. I'm not sure about it. triple bottom here, another bottom here. It almost makes it a quadruple bottom, but this 1350 area seems to want to be a place it holds. So if we can get a bit of a pullback here to 1450, it could get up to 16 and maybe higher. So, but I need a bit of a pullback. Need to see a bit of a pullback to to get into this one. And that's it for the week. And let's just see how things unfold. Like I said, there's lots of news flow this week. And we'll see what happens. This is my book on Amazon, How to Swing Trade. If you're interested, check it out. And we'll see everyone in the Bear Bull Trading Room on Monday morning. Hope everyone has had a great weekend, and enjoy the rest of the weekend, people, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye for now.